to India and Ireland, round Africa and back again. We don't really need to know just where we'll go. Maybe Canada, then to Brazil, then through the Alpine foothills. All I really want to know is, can we go? Oh baby, can we go? Round and around the globe.
Welcome to Take Me With You, episode 134. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Cheryl. We are two well-traveled people who want to go everywhere.
But that's not going to happen. Instead, for the last couple of years, we've been traveling vicariously by inviting guests to share their unique travel stories with us.
It's been awesome, and our podcast has been all over the globe.
Now we're taking some time to revisit the Wish You Were Here segment of our show, where we each share travel attractions that we recommend.
Today, the Wish You Were Here's are still from Ireland.
Yeah, they are.
This is a two-parter, and we are on part 2. So if you didn't listen last week, start there. And Ryan outlined all of these Wish You Were Here's to make a lovely little loop if you're driving a loop around the island of Ireland. Now, here's what I'm wondering, Ryan, because
Yes.
we did an episode, maybe it was a two-parter, I don't remember, on your trip to Ireland.
Yep.
And then also you've shared about these Wish You Were Here's. And you are a chatty fellow, one might say.
I don't know what you're talking about.
For example, when we released an episode of just your Wish You Were Here's from Slovenia, it was much longer than just my Wish You Were Here's from Spain, which was very funny because everyone who knows me knows that I am very chatty, but I think you like that detail. I think that's
Yes.
what happens. So I feel
Yes.
like these two Ireland Wish You Were Here episodes might be more concise than your Ireland trip report.
Oh, for sure. They would definitely be more concise than, yes, that is definitely
So
true.
I think if someone wants like the story of your visit to Ireland and they want to feel like they're on that road trip with you, they might want to go back and listen to episodes 40 and 41 and hear about your trip. But if people are like, no, where should I go on my trip to Ireland? This is for them.
Yes. I mean, one of the things I do in the original episode that we did is talk about what it's like to drive in Ireland, because that's a whole thing on its own. And that's not really a Wish You Were Here, because, but that's an experience. One of the other cool things about this episode, our second part, is it also includes some sites from Northern Ireland. So most of the island is the Republic of Ireland, but there's a section in Northern Ireland that's actually part of the United Kingdom. And we also went there. And so some of these are from that. So that's something different about this episode from the part 1 that I'm sure you all just finished listening to.
They did. They all just finished. And now they are continuing their road trip around the country, and they are pressing play once again on this episode. So let's take a listen.
So who would like to go first?
I'll do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
right.
Jimmy.
I would definitely say any little farmhouse you can rent in the Dingle Peninsula in Ireland. It is like the classic Irish countryside, but also seaside cottage area that has like sheep on the hills, these beehive huts that were built by ancient druids 10,000 years ago. And you're a quick drive, maybe 10 or 15 minutes from Dingle town, the actual town there. And that town is quaint, and you can get the non-touristy stuff or the touristy stuff.
Nice.
It's just a cool little spot to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to build on this a little bit. I am headed to Ireland this summer, and we will be staying in Dingle. So
Yes.
any additional tips or suggestions?
Did you book where
positive
you're
or
staying
negative?
yet?
We did already book where we're staying, yeah. So it's not a farmhouse.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Are you driving? Are you renting a car for the
Yes.
trip? Just
Yeah.
get ready for the narrow, scary roads They barreled down. But
If I can do it, you can do it.
yeah, I'll look it up. There's two really good Irish bars there in Ireland. They're all Irish bars there. But there's two really good
Bars, yeah.
bars. One is the Tourist Trap that everybody wants to go to. The owner's son was the world Irish step dancing champion for several years, and he'll just bust out into his moves in the middle of the night. And they play a lot of cheesy Irish songs,
Which you liked.
I liked a couple. Mm-hmm. But around the corner and offline, I can find the name and send it to you. But we first stumbled into this trad bar, and trad music is traditional Irish music. And it was just this low-key spot where all the locals had gathered, and we were the weird ones for walking in. And I kind of liked that. I just was hoping they'd play
Your cheesy Irish music.
my cheesy Irish music, but not with tourists all around me.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Dingle was a
Wow.
That's great.
That was very fitting.
Yes.
Yep. Becca, what would you like to do for your Wish You Were Here?
I think I'm gonna go with the Cliffs of Moher, and so that's in Ireland. If you guys have been there, off the west coast, and they're just so big and so crazy cool looking, and it's just like it's a reminder of how small you are in this world, which. I don't mean that as like a bad thing. I just mean that of God has made some vastly beautiful things. And like just standing up on a cliff that just like looking over the ocean, looking over the rocks at the bottom of it and how high you are in the air. And yeah, that was a place we used to go a lot whenever I lived in Ireland as like bring these people that are visiting us here. And so we got to go there quite a bit. And so as you go there more and more, you got to explore more and more. And it was just really cool to walk and just keep walking and looking over the ocean. And yeah, that place means a lot to me, and it's a really cool spot.
Nice.
That is very cool. I have been there before, but we did not. I've only been there once and didn't get to spend a ton of time. So, like, how much of the cliffs and the pathways did you walk along?
Yeah, so as you walk up, there's this like main entrance, and to your right, there's that whole like indoor museum type of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like in a hill off to your right. There's not a lot of it showing. That's really neat as well. But then as you walk out, there's a spot to the right that has all these warning signs that say don't cross this way. But everybody crosses that way anyway. I think at this point it's just we're not liable if you do something stupid over there.
Yep.
And so that part only goes so far, but that's really cool because you can get out to the edge of the cliff and look down, which is terrifying but also really cool experience. And then if you go left, there's a lot of partially paved, partially like there's some little trails that go off of the main paved one, and that just goes quite a ways down the cliff or down the cliffside. And that's just neat because you can just keep going for a while and then eventually you have to come back. So we always like didn't go too far.
Right, because you have to make
like,
yeah.
We were always on a time frame as well. And so we're like, okay, we can walk for this amount of time before we turn around and like have to go back to the group or we're going to lunch or whatever, you know.
All right, Ryan, what's your wish you were here?
Well, I definitely don't have any Disneyland wish you were here's because I haven't been there in a very long time.
It sounds like the Roger Rabbit ride, you know.
I mean, it was fun and all, but I don't know that it's a wish you were here worthy. So I'm going to go back to Ireland again. And I'm going to talk about something that I'm going to probably pronounce it incorrectly, and I apologize. But it's the Carrick Rede Rope Bridge.
A rope bridge?
Yep. It's like a suspension rope bridge that's over. Yeah.
Is it terrifying?
No. Okay.
Really?
So here's the thing. I didn't find it terrifying personally. That does not mean that it wouldn't be terrifying for some people. My whole thing with heights is I say that I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling from heights. So as long as I don't feel like I might fall, I'm usually fine.
Okay.
So kind of like I said, I don't like roller coasters because you actually fall.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? Like I don't like the actual falling. So like I can go on the top of the Space Needle in Seattle, or when I was in France, I went to the top of the Eiffel Tower, right? And I can look down and I'm fine. No big deal. I can, look over the edge of the Grand Canyon as long as I don't feel like I'm going to actually fall. If I feel like there's a chance I could fall, all bets are off.
Got it.
And I wasn't really sure before I did this because it's a pretty steep drop off. It's kind of between two cliffs and there's water down between it and things like that. And so I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to think or if I was going to like it or not. But I actually thought it was cool. You have to go twice. So you go across once out to this little kind of mini island, and then you can hang out there and kind of look out at the water. And then you obviously have to walk back. But I don't know. I think some of it is the wood planks along the bottom. You can't really see through easily.
It's not like in the Emperor's New Groove. Okay.
No, it's definitely not like the Emperor's New Groove. And I mean, it does move a little bit. It has a little bit of give, but it's not swaying back and forth like crazy. And I never felt like I was going to fall. I mean, I definitely had my hands on the rope, but I also had my phone in the other hand and was recording a video as I walked across.
Okay, so you were okay.
Yeah, I was okay. And I even looked over a little bit, and I didn't get the big, sinking feeling in your gut necessarily.
Okay, good.
For me, anyway.
Nice. And what were you looking down on? Was it land or water or what?
Mostly water.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
It is cool because
Nice.
I don't know, it's pretty, of course, because most of Ireland is pretty. But then it's also I don't know, to be able to get out and then you're just on just rolling green hill-like things, and it's surrounded by mostly water, and so that was extra cool as well because I feel like it made, I don't know, you're just kind of on the edge of Ireland. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure it's in Northern Ireland. I'm trying to check here, and I have way too many pictures to look through. And so I think on the other side of it, if I'm remembering correctly, you can actually see Scotland.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Because definitely part of when we were in Northern Ireland, you can look across and there's Scotland.
Wow. That's cool.
So,
yeah, it says it's in Northern Ireland, County Antrim.
Sure.
Antrim?
Oh, Antrim, part of the Antrim coast.
Antrim.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Got it. My pronunciation is just stellar, so
It's okay. I mean, mine is not that much better. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really fun. I would recommend it.
How about you, Ryan?
So I'm going to do one from my trip to Ireland this past summer, except this is from Northern Ireland. So, Kyle, this would be a place that you haven't been because I don't think you did Northern Ireland as part of your
I didn't
trip.
go.
Yeah, so this is called Dunluce Castle. And as I discovered on my trip to Ireland, it's actually a ruin because I love ruins I don't know why, but I just am fascinated by them. So it is about halfway between Portrush and Bushmills along kind of the northern coast of Ireland. And it's really, really beautiful. Obviously, again, it's a ruin of a castle, but you can walk through. It's on this cliff, and so of course there's amazing, views of the water and everything down below. And it's just it's fun to kind of be able to walk through the different rooms and kind of be able to picture and imagine what it would be like if it was all together. So it's cool because there's like different rooms and different kind of portions. And there's one part that's sort of on basically the mainland. And then there's this little bridge that goes across to this smaller little outcrop that has another part of the castle on it over there. And it's just, you know, there's no roofs on it anywhere. You can see leftover oven chimneys where ovens were that you can see through the rocks. Parts of it have fallen down, like parts of the walls have fallen down, and they're just kind of sitting there. Lots of open windows looking across. There's, you know, grass and green, and you can see the water, and it's just, I mean, again, I love me a good ruined castle. So it's just really, really fun. It's a cool place. It's very beautiful and picturesque. So I would highly recommend visiting Dunluce Castle if you happen to be in Northern Ireland, which I would also recommend going to because it's cool.
It's totally one of those
Nice.
places that like someday will have like amazing augmented reality technology where you can like stand in that ruin and then like press a button and it will like rebuild the ruin around you so you can like see it. But
Oh my
these
gosh,
pictures
you're
are so
right.
cool.
Yeah, Kyle has the advantage if he can see some of my pictures as I'm looking through.
Well, we'll just have to put them on our Instagram
We'll have to
then.
put them on our
won't we?
Instagram. And I mean, it's like the ruin is cool, but then also just the scenery around the ruin is so gorgeous. And I mean, it's part of, I believe, the Antrim coast, which is that northern part of Northern Ireland. And it's just beautiful with the water and the cliffs and just the side. It's beautiful. But I could continue to fawn over Ireland for a very long time. So
Oh yeah.
I will stop now.
Yeah, Ireland's awesome.
How about you, Ryan?
I'm going to do a Wish You Were Here from Northern Ireland. The Bushmills Distillery Tour.
Okay.
So the famous, you know, the big thing is Guinness when you go to the island of Ireland, right? And that's in the Republic of Ireland, which is in the southern side. And when we went, we didn't go there. As I think our frequent podcast listeners know, I don't particularly like alcohol, so I don't really drink because I don't like it. So it doesn't really matter to me. What I'm more interested in is the science side of how do you make it? Because that, of course, is it. What are you laughing at me for? It's interesting. You use yeast and there's fermentation and there's all sorts of science behind it. That part's interesting to me. I don't really want to drink it. And so my friends Tom and Serena that I went with, they weren't particularly interested in Guinness because it sounded like that was much more of sort of the touristy, not really going into that. And since we went into Northern Ireland, we went to the old Bushmills Distillery, which is in Bushmills in Northern Ireland. And it's a fun little tiny town in Northern Ireland. And it was a fun little tour. It's nothing super big or fancy or amazing, but they walk you through and they tell you about how they make the different parts. And you walk through and you see, I mean, this is going to sound really dumb, but one of the things that I personally enjoyed was the bottling room, because it's one of those things that you see on TV, or it almost makes me think of like Willy Wonka's factory, because all of these bottles, these glass bottles are all, you know, going down the conveyor belt, and then they go through this thing and then they get filled and then they get wrapped and then they go to the next section and it gets pushed around and it's all happening automatically. And I don't know why, but that just amuses me. But it's just kind of a fun tour. It's officially, they say that they are the oldest licensed distillery in the world.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive. And the location is great because it's sort of between Giant's Causeway and Portrush and a few of the kind of the places that if you're going to Northern Ireland, they're places that you would want to go. And the old Bushmills Distillery is just a fun little stop just right in there that you can go. And at the end, for those of you who do like alcohol, they do have a tasting where you can taste different, I don't even know what they're called. They're whiskeys, but different flavors. I don't even know. This is how ignorant I am of alcohol. But it, and then of course you can buy some if you want to, and they have of course, a gift shop, and you can buy stuff. And but it's a fun little place to go. So Bushmills
Fun.
Distillery in Northern Ireland.
I'll have to add that to my list. Sounds wonderful.
Okay.
Ryan, what would you do for the Wish You Were Here?
Oh, I never start. This will be fun. So because I've very recently been in Ireland, a lot of my Wish You Were Here's are going to be from Ireland. So this one is actually from Northern Ireland in Belfast. And I did not know this until I went there, but did you know that C.S. Lewis was actually born in Belfast?
But what?
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea. So there is just in Belfast somewhere, I don't know the geography super well, but there is what they call C.S. Lewis Square, and it's just this little tiny kind of like mini park. There's some grassy areas, and then there's kind of a cement thing. There were some kids that were, like elementary kids, like they were skateboarding and stuff in kind of one of the flat cement areas. But what they have is they have a C.S. Lewis sculpture park. And so they have these metal sculptures of characters from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And so they're like in kind of different places throughout this park. They have Aslan is like huge, big, and they have, let's see if I can remember them. There's Aslan, and there is the White Witch. Mr. Tumnus is there. They've got Mr. and Mrs. Beaver. They have Morgrim, the wolf.
Oh yeah.
That like, yep. So he's kind of freaky and scary. And they have is it the Robin, I think, which I did not remember. I was like, I gotta read, because each one has a little plaque that tells you a little bit about it. They have the stone table, which is really cool.
Cool.
And then actually, I think what is technically the beginning of the whole thing, but we kind of found it at the end, is really cool. They have a kind of a life-size wardrobe with then a statue of C.S. Lewis like opening like the door to the wardrobe.
Oh, that's super neat.
Which is really cool. And then on the back of it, these are all like metal sculptures, right? So on the back of it, they've got a couple of different, like one of them was like a letter that C.S. Lewis wrote to someone, like I think a woman who had like written to him or whatever. And it's kind of in his words, descriptions of what his purpose was in writing the books and some of those things. So it's this like, it's, you could spend 5 minutes there, you could spend a half an hour there, it's kind of up to you, but it was this cool spot of, I think most people are at least vaguely familiar of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and so I just thought it was really cool to kind of recognize that and just kind of pull you into the world of Narnia a little bit, which was cool.
I love that.
That's
I wanna
awesome.
go.
Okay. You could drive up to Belfast when you're in Dublin. It's not that far.
We were already thinking of taking a day trip there, so that's.
See, I figured.
I think that's definitely on the list now of things to do there.
How about you, Ryan?
I'm going to do another location from Ireland, this time Belfast in Northern Ireland. And I think you would really like this, Cheryl, for multiple reasons. It's called the Crown Bar and Saloon.
Ooh, okay.
And it's just a beautiful building. So there's a whole story behind it that I won't remember all of, but it's just it's all this wood paneling, and I don't know if they're mosaics or not, but very colorful tile, and they have these big tall booths that you can sit in, and it's really, really pretty. It's pretty well known. It's pretty iconic. Apparently it was part of the story, if I'm remembering it right, and I apologize to any listeners who may be correcting me when they hear me say it wrong. But I believe that the husband and wife who originally owned it or started it didn't, like, they were on different sides of the fence as far as whether they wanted to be a part of the United Kingdom or not. And so one of them, and I don't remember if it was the wife or if it was the husband, but one of them wanted to call it the Crown and was super excited about, being with the Crown. And then the other one was like, okay, fine, but then we're going to do like a mosaic of the Crown on the ground in the entryway so that every time you walk in and you walk out, you step on the Crown. So that was like their compromise, I guess. So
that's funny.
Yeah. But it's a really, really cool bar. And I mean, I don't drink or anything, but the building is still really cool. And then up above on the second floor, they have an actual restaurant. And we actually ate there when we were there.
Oh, cool.
And the food was decent. And the upstairs is not as fancy and amazing looking as the downstairs, but it's still fun and it has a fun vibe. And it's definitely worth stopping by and checking out next time you're in Belfast.
Next time you're in Belfast.
Yeah.
I love that. That sounds fun. That is such a funny compromise. I was just watching, we're just recently talking about The Office, and this also reminds me of The Office, where Michael Scott tries to come up with a win-win-win situation with compromises. And his example is that Oscar should wear Angela's awful cat poster as a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So that Angela can see it and Oscar never has to see it. And then Angela will be happy when she looks at Oscar. It sounds like that type of a compromise to have a crown on the ground that everybody steps on. And I love it. That's very funny.
How about you, Ryan?
I'm going to talk about one that I'm also probably not pronouncing correctly. So this is my best take at it. The Monaster Boyce Round Tower, which is in Northern Ireland. It's a ruin because, as we all know, I love a good ruin. And the Round Tower itself is a pretty large round tower. Go figure.
Cool.
That has lost its roof. And it says the present height of the tower is 110 feet. So it's pretty tall.
Yeah.
And it's just stone because it's pretty old. But it's from a monastery. And so it's kind of a graveyard. And what the area is actually best known for are what are called its high crosses. So think about stereotypical Irish Celtic cross. Like picture what you would picture in your head.
Yep.
And there are a bunch of them there and they're really big, like taller than I am big.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, 15 feet tall, something like that. A few of them. And, they've got carvings in them and things. And it's pretty cool. It's not a super big place. It's not, you don't pay for it. You just kind of walk through. There's not a ton to see. But it's pretty interesting. It's just kind of off the road. And they're really, really pretty. And I also happen to like ruins. So that's always a plus.
Nice. Very cool.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. We would love it if you would follow us on social media. We are at Timwy Podcast. That's at TMWY for Take Me With You Podcast. We are on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
You can also email us at timwepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us, what are your wish you were here's for this location?
We would love to hear that. You can also call us and leave us a voicemail at 406-763-8699. Or if it's easier to remember, 406-POD-TIMWY. We would love it if you would rate and review our podcast to tell other people what you think about it, subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode, and share about this episode on your social media.
As always, thank you to Beth Reed Miller for the awesome artwork. You can check out more of Beth's artwork at Beth Is Something. And thank you to Erica Corbin for the use of her song Round the Globe. You can listen to Erica's music wherever music is sold or streamed.
That's all we have for this episode. So until next time, remember to take me with you.
Take me with you!
Can we get a sailboat chasing down the sunset as we float round and round the globe? Salty air and balmy nights, guided only by the lights above, and a little love. Oh, the world is out there waiting to explore, and all our troubles here want them to be